What's up, Fragrant World? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. I actually wasn't going to shoot this particular video. I was going to shoot a different video, but I realized I hadn't done a dedicated review in a long time. So I figured I want to do one, but I want to do one that maybe a lot of you want to see. And I do happen to have my hands on a rather new release from this year. And this is courtesy of a good friend of mine. You know who you are, so thank you so much. I actually received this bottle before it was officially released here in the United States. So I've had it for a little while, maybe 3 weeks now, something like that. And it's getting some buzz, and I think for a good reason. We're talking about from the house of Tom Ford. This is the new Beau De Jour. Okay, rebottled, reimagined, so to speak. Now I gotta say, I don't have any experience with the original, which was in the private blend line. And from my understanding, unfortunately, it didn't sell well. Tom Ford has really been pushing fougères. In fact, he has a whole line of them separate from Beau De Jour that I'm not sure how well those are doing, but then Beau De Jour came out. I mean, he's really pushing aromatic fougère over the past couple years. I guess this is how he sees men smelling, which is, again, harking back to what men used to smell like back in the 1970s and the 80s when fougères were really big in the designer market. So rather than pull Beau De Jour off the shelf, I think maybe similar to what he did with Ombre Leather back in 2016, which you can't find anymore, they then rebottled it in the Signature line, which is what they've done with Beau De Jour. Instead of, again, pulling it all together, he decided, how about we rebottle it? Let's lower the price a little bit and let's keep it out there. I want people to check this out. So here we have Beau De Jour in 2020. I gotta say, I really enjoy this scent. This is a classic fougère. It's bold, it's rich, it's very nostalgic. It's kind of vintage, honestly. The notes itself, if you see the note breakdown, it just screams like, okay, we're going for the old school here. Top notes of lavender, lots of lavender. In the mid, we got rosemary, we got geranium, there's some mint in there, there's basil, there's oak moss, and in the base, patchouli and amber. These are the notes based on Fragrantica. And when it opens up, it's very aromatic, but immediately sharp and herbaceous. You definitely get what I get when I first sprayed on, lots of lavender. I get patchouli. There's that slight dampness in the background from the patchouli, and I definitely get rosemary. As it starts to dry, the lavender it's still there, but it's not quite as fresh. It gets more and more mossy and herbaceous. That oak moss comes to play. There is still a little bit of freshness though, that mint and geranium keep things lively and open. But as this thing dries, it kind of completely transforms. It becomes really warm and rich and deep, not really all that sweet. It has a creaminess. When you first put it on, it's this creamy, fresh, beautiful opening. And then as it dries, it gets dry and herbaceous and mossy and warm and earthy. And it is deep. It has a lot of depth. This is an eau de parfum. I get very, very good performance out of this fragrance. It lasts at least 7 hours on me. And if I apply, my usual 4 to 5 sprays, I can detect it around me all day long. There was a period of time in the past few weeks where I wore it like 3 days in a row. I never really do that unless I'm trying to do that and stick to one fragrance and wear it. But I just kept reaching for it. I just couldn't get enough. Now keep in mind, this fragrance, it's modern, but it's vintage. When you put this on, you gotta be prepared to be seen as older, okay? You gotta dress the part, make sure you're dressed nice, make sure you got a collared shirt on, something clean, something, well tailored, something that just looks good on you and makes you look refined. Otherwise, it's just a weird combo, because this does kind of smell like your dad or your granddad in a way. But again, there's still this modernity to it. It's Tom Ford. He's always kind of cutting edge here with a lot of his fragrances and his fashion and everything. but it does harken back to the old school, so be prepared for that. Now, if you want to pick this up, it's all over the place. You can get it from Sephora, you can get it from Macy's, you can get it from, of course, Tom Ford. And from what I've seen, even Nordstrom, from what I've seen, suggested retail is about 128 bucks for this 50 milliliter size. And it obviously goes up for the 100 milliliter. I'll have that on screen here. I'm happy with the 50 mil. I find this stuff to be a pretty particular scent, so I'm not gonna wear it all the time, but it is something that I can pull off during the day, just about for any occasion, honestly. And it's pretty strong, so you don't need too much of it. So this is a success for me. I'm glad that I have my hands on it. I didn't think I would really care for Beau De Jour when it came out, but I'm glad I had my hands on this one. Again, I don't have the original to compare it to, so I don't know if they've reformulated it or not. Everything I've told you is based on my experience wearing it and getting to know it. So that is my take on Beau De Jour from the house of Tom Ford. I recommend you sample this stuff. Go check it out in store. Put it on your hand. See how it develops. It's beautiful in the air. Up close, it can be a little, it's good quality, but it's a little stuffy. It has that old man vibe, honestly. But in the air, oh, so much refinement. It's just so sophisticated. Anyway, let me know if you've tried this fragrance. If you plan on trying it, whatever you want to talk about, let's do it in the comments. And thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.